Hall of Nostalgia with the 80s and 90s Uncensored. I am Milo Dennison.
And I'm Jamie Fenderson, and today we're going to talk about The Princess Bride.
Such a lovely film.
It's like one of those perfect films. You know, there's a handful of movies, especially from the 80s, that you just could consider a perfect movie. And I think this is a perfect movie. It's got comedy, it's got adventure, it's got action, it's got romance. It's got everything that you'd want in any story in general, but especially the way the film is made. It's everything that you want in a film that you can watch over and over again. And you could watch it with your kids. You could watch it with your grandparents. You could watch it with anybody. It's just a freaking perfect movie, dude.
And that's what makes it one of those perfect films, because anyone can watch it and everyone loves it. And if you don't love this film, you've got deep emotional trauma that you need to deal with, because I can't imagine anyone not liking this film because of all the reasons you just said. It has something for everyone: romance, action, comedy, drama, a great story, great characters, great performances that anyone of any age can watch. Yeah, funny story. Heike and I, of course, seen this film multiple times, but she had never been to a movie theater or to a drive-in movie.
Oh,
And so this last summer, we went to the drive-in and they were playing A Princess Bride. So her first experience watching a movie in a drive-in was watching The Princess Bride. So that
that's
was pretty sweet.
cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was
So
fun.
she felt like what it might have felt like in 1987 when this film was
Exactly.
made.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What a great first time at a drive-in movie theater movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. Perfect for that kind of a thing.
Yeah, and this movie has always been on our list, and we're talking about it now, uh, kind of as a tribute to Rob Reiner. And as the as we're recording this, we're hearing about he and his wife's tragic and shocking death. So this is kind of our love letter to the film. He made a number of great films, but this is kind of our love letter to one of our all time super favorite movies that brought us a
Mm-hmm.
lot of joy. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, totally agree. It's quite sad because I don't know if he gets enough recognition for being such a great filmmaker. If you look at his biography, he's done so many fantastic films. This, of course, being one of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the origins of this go back to a book. It was the author, his name was William Goldman, and he published it way back in 1973. And I guess studios bought and passed the property around like all over the place several times. And then Goldman kind of got pissed, and he finally bought back the film rights because it kept getting shifted around so much and so many stalls and all this. So over the years, like there were a bunch of like directors, including like Robert Redford, kind of attached to it, but it just never gelled. So Reiner, I guess he was a fan of this book. He was a fan of this, and he started thinking like, hey, what can I do with this book? And he had read the novel like way back in his 20s. So he actually went to Goldman, is like, hey, what do you think about me making this movie? You can write the screenplay. So the author actually also wrote the screenplay for this and gave Rob the blessing to direct.
That's
But even
cool.
yeah, but even like Rob Rob Reiner hit the wall too, because I guess it was really difficult to pitch this thing.
Don't you love it when you hear about films and stuff like that, that producer or director or writer, they're trying to sell and all these studios pass over it and they're like, no, we don't want to do it. And then it ends up being like a huge hit.
Yeah.
This,
Back to the
and
Future, anyone?
yeah, exactly. And like, then all the people that said no on it are like,
Yeah.
oh, what the
Oh,
hell? I could be
yeah.
involved in that and I'm not. People could like include me in the credits of this cherished film and I'm not, because I couldn't see how great it is.
Yeah, totally. And I guess if you're a studio person, though, think about this. They thought it would be hard to market, so it's kind of this metafictional postmodern fairy tale. And what is it? A romance, a satire, a swashbuckle? So they were kind of like, how do we even market this? Which I kind of see that. It
Hmm.
is like all everything and all at once. And I guess Rob cut his own salary and he trimmed the cast and the production costs and even sold like foreign uh he sold like video rights to like foreign entities because he was convinced that he could do this, and he turned to a guy named Norman Lear. He had a company called Act 3 to finance the film. So I guess Rob really put not only pushed for the financing but took a pay cut and like redid the casting. He really put a lot into getting this movie even made.
That makes sense. You because if you look at the cast, they're all famous names now, but in the late '80s, not too many were all that huge, successful. I think of like Wallace Shawn, who plays Vizzini, right? He
Hmm.
spent the whole film thinking he was going to get fired and replaced by Danny DeVito, for example.
Yeah.
And, he's great. But like Mandy Patinkin, again, super famous now, but I don't know how huge he was then. I think he was still somewhat known, but probably, I can't think of any of the names on this list that really would have gotten a huge salary, other than say Billy
Billy
Crystal's
Crystal, yeah.
cameo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even Carrie Ewells and Robin Wright were kind of unknowns at that time too. I think Billy Crystal was like the only kind of known. And here's the funny story. I guess Billy Crystal takes like took a long time because everybody was cracking up so much that they had to retake it all the time, including Rob himself. I guess he had to leave a lot because I guess that's how like they were just cracking up because Billy Crystal's so funny, right?
Yeah.
But it was so hard to film him because he kept cracking everybody up. They couldn't film his scenes like efficiently.
I believe it. The scenes with those two, Carol Kane played his wife, and they're
Hmm.
just so freaking hilarious. Like it's such a small piece of that film, but so memorable because how hilarious those two are in that scene.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's just fun. So they filmed this in late 1986, and they filmed it mostly in England and then in some places in Ireland, like the Cliffs of Moher.
Mm.
And then they did some studio work at Shepperton for like interiors and stuff, like in English studios. But that's why I think it works because it was a lot of on location. There wasn't like CGI. It looked like some kind of medieval place. They just had all of these really great locations that they filmed.
Hmm.
And I think that's another reason why this film just looks good even today.
Well, and even like the places where you could tell they're in the studio, like the swamp of eternal fire or whatever it is, just but it's a fairy tale,
Yeah.
so it's okay that it doesn't look completely real because it's a fantasy land and it should have a bit of lack of reality to it to make it a fairy tale, right? For me, like when the sword fight scene on the cliffs, right?
Yeah.
There, like it's okay with that some of those rocks are clearly probably not rocks,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
because it's a
Well,
fairy tale. It
and
works.
that's what gives it its charm.
It
That
does.
scene, by the way, that fencing scene, which is probably one of the best swashbuckling scenes, if not the best swashbuckling scene ever. I guess they what was his name? They trained with this sword master.
Hmm.
So they trained with this sword master, and this sword master did. His name is Bob Anderson, and he did choreographed fights for like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. And the reason why it works is, the Man in Black and Inigo Montoya duel. A lot of that, except for some stunt work, but a lot of that was the actors themselves doing it. That's why it looks so good because it's them. It's not some cheesy double,
Yeah.
and that's why
Well,
you see them doing it because they are.
and it's why, and if you look at it too, there's a lot of wide shots there. You see the full of the two of them doing the scenes, to whereas now it would be these like super tight, quick cut
Yeah,
action sequences,
because
and
we don't actually want to train anybody, so we're gonna kind of
exactly.
cheat with these quick cut weirdness.
Exactly. And so in that, you get these nice wide where it follows the two of them like going against each other without quick cuts, and you have to follow them. So of course it's got to be the real actors because you can see them
Mm-hmm.
doing these nice long scenes of like, ta 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 this way, ta 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 this way. It's such a fantastic sword fights.
Yeah, and that's what makes it great. And I guess the actors are so this was a modest success maybe at best when it came out. But it's
Hmm.
one of those that because maybe people didn't get it, it wasn't marketed well. But people at like on cable VHS, people started talking about this. And I guess more people saw it on cable or on VHS than they did in the theaters. But it slow burned into a cult classic. And in 2016 they put it in the registry for films that are culturally significant and all that. So this is one of those slow burning classics.
Yeah, it made its money and made a bit of a profit. But I think sometimes some of the best films are too good for the time that they're released, and it
Yeah.
takes time for people to realize how good they are, because when we talk about cult classics, it's usually that case where it didn't make a bunch of money or even lost money when it first came out, because like you said, studios don't know how to market it, people don't know if they want to see it or not. But then once the word gets out and you watch it on VHS, or now I guess VOD, you're like, oh yeah, this is freaking brilliant, and it deserves its claim. So sometimes I feel like if a movie's a huge hit right when it comes out, maybe it's not that good,
Mm-hmm.
because over time, it's not going to be a cult classic. Star Wars Episode One, that will never be cult classic status, but
No.
it was a huge hit when it came out. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, the Phantom Menace, yeah. Huge
uh
hit
huh,
when it came out and like slow burned
into
into
crap.
into the what it really is, which is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, and even the actors, a lot of them like this movie because they got their start here. I know Mandy, there's an interview with him I saw, and he was crying and he was grateful. He's like, I'm so like humbled and grateful to be a part of this movie. Like, this is a part of my life that I am so grateful for. I'm like, damn, that's so nice.
Yeah, that is great. And of course, to get to work with Rob Reiner, he's one of those directors that you don't hear stories about later on where, like, oh, he was so terrible, or he was this
Yeah,
or that, or treated people this way on set. You only hear good things about him.
yeah. What do you think about the one-liners? We got to talk about the
Oh my gosh,
one-liners
some
because
of
I
the
think
how
these one-liners have been cemented into like culture. Like they're so good.
Heike and I use the "as you wish."
As you wish.
As you
Yeah.
wish. So she uses it more than me, but like because of this film, we'll say, well, okay, as you
Mm-hmm.
wish, and stuff. And yeah, we totally do it. We totally do it because of this film.
Yeah.
The yeah, Inigo Montoya, you killed my father.
Hello. My name
Eh,
is Inigo Montoya.
Yeah.
You killed my father. Prepare to die.
How many people on the planet can quote lines from multiple lines from the same film? Like it's so good because of that kind of stuff. Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said the word inconceivable normally in since watching this film. Anytime I say the word inconceivable, it's because of this film, and I say it exactly like him. Yeah,
Well, it
that is
almost changed the
inconceivable.
meaning of the word if you think about it, because if you hear anybody say that now, like you don't
Yeah.
say, I think that's inconceivable."
Mm.
Nobody ever says it like that anymore. I think this movie actually changed the meaning of the word to where when you say inconceivable means like you kind of screwed up, but you don't want to admit it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I
it's the whole word changed because of this movie, man.
yeah. Well, and they even call it up. I don't think you're using that word
I don't
the way
think
it's
you know
supposed
what
to
this word means.
be.
You keep using this word.
You keep using
I
this
don't think
word,
you
but
know what
I
the
don't think you
meaning
know
of
what it
this word
means.
is.
Yeah,
Anybody want a
exactly.
peanut?
It's fantastic. It's so good. Yeah, exactly. There are so many times in life, in conversation, where you quote this film because it's just the perfect film, like you said. Uh, I think it's worth mentioning Andre the Giant as well,
Yeah.
because he was quite unhealthy making this film because of his size and how much pain he was in making the film, to the point to where, like, they have this scene where Carrie Elwes is on his back when they're doing the fight, but they
Uh-huh.
actually had to support Carrie Elwes with some wires and stuff to let off some of the weight. The scene where they all jump into his arms, that kind of stuff. So there were a lot of scenes where he was actually being supported because of the pain that he was in and stuff like that. But apparently he was a trooper the whole time as well and just kind of went on set and did his thing.
Yeah, I heard Andre was a nice guy. He's like a gentle giant. And he was
Yeah.
a giant too. Do you know his so he used to there's a rumor that he used to cover Robin's head if it was raining with his hand.
Yeah. I've heard
And
that
his
too.
hand was the size of a large pizza.
Yeah. I believe it.
That's crazy.
And what a sweet thing to do. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
oh, poor Robin. Here, let me put my hand over
Yeah,
your
let me
head.
put my umbrella of a hand over your head. And it probably worked because it's this giant this giant hand, this giant man. It's
And what a
crazy.
legacy, too, right? Of course, we know him from wrestling, but he's got this film that he will always be remembered for as this gentle giant, right? Versus just a wrestler. And
Yeah.
not that there's anything wrong with just a wrestler, but, like he's got this bonus thing on top of being a well known wrestler.
Yeah, and he even beats out Hulk Hogan in that way because Hulk Hogan was in a lot of stuff, but
He's
everybody's
not
going to remember
remembered
Hulk
for it.
Hogan. Yeah, not for like what
I don't know,
his
one of his films. He did a couple
neighborhood
films. Yeah, I don't
in
know.
the neighborhood trooper or whatever. All of his movies were kind of silly and dumb.
Yeah,
But Andre was in a really good, like one of the best movies ever made. So he kind of wins
exactly.
there.
Totally. Yeah, the cast again. Peter Falk. Oh, there you go. Peter Falk was a known name at the time because he had done Columbo and stuff like that.
Oh, so the whole scene. So that's something I think Rob injected was the scene with Fred Savage and the grandpa, like starting out reading the book. That's something I think Rob interjected to be like, yeah,
Mm,
this was a book. Um, so let's have this grandpa reading to his grandson thing, which I thought worked.
yeah,
I thought it worked really well.
it was a nice little bit. And Fred Savage's character be like, "Oh man, stupid book. I'm sick." Grandpa comes over, he curls my cheeks. Then he
Yeah.
reads me a book, and now I'm like, "Oh yeah, books are cool.
Yeah,
You
and
want to
he's
come over
totally
again
into
sometime,
it.
Grandpa?" Yeah.
He's like, and the grandpa like closes it. He's like, I can think, I don't think you're ready for this. He's like, no, keep reading, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's good
I think
stuff.
that was a good little bit to add in there. I think it really works for this movie because it is a book. It's a book written in 1973. I guess a lot of people say it's a boring book, but I
I don't know. I've
read
never read it. Yeah.
I read kind of a forward by someone, and I forget how it all went down, but someone kind of reprinted it and did a forward. And I guess if you read like certain parts, if you kind of skip parts, then the whole thing works well. There's just a lot of things in the throughout it that kind of make it a little slower.
Oh, I should read it. Like I'm a reader, and I feel like it's one of those books I want to check out. Sometimes I'll do that though, read a book after watching the movie, or vice
Mhm.
versa. And you're like, it's hard sometimes once you get attached to a certain version,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I'm so attached to this film that I find it hard to believe that the book could live up to the film in my mind. Versus sometimes if you read the book first, it's almost better to then watch the film. I don't know.
Well, we're also talking about one of the best films ever made, in my opinion. So it's
How could the book
that's a
live up
whole
to that?
different that's a different level, right? There are a lot
Hmm.
of movies and books you could be like, okay, that works here, that doesn't work there. This film is fantastic.
Yeah. 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 Gosh, there's just so much about this. Like, it's hard. There's probably not too much trivia worth going into because I imagine most people who know this film know a lot of the trivia about it. But I think for me, it's just one of those films that I absolutely adore. And if you're listening to this and for whatever reason have not watched this film, you really should go out and watch it. And don't get all hyped up because, oh, people said this is the best film ever. So now I've got to like it. Just get your kids, if you got kids, which you probably are if you're listening to our podcast, you're in the right age group. Grab your kids and be like, hey, I've got this fun little film I want to watch. Let's watch it. And
Yeah.
don't tell them anything about it. Don't tell them it's supposed to be the greatest film ever made or anything like that. Just be like, hey, you want to watch a film? Let's watch this film. Or go to the drive-in and watch it
Yeah.
if you
That's a
can.
great drive-in movie. Man,
If the,
I'm so
if there's
jelly
a
that you did
drive-in,
that.
Yeah, it was fun. And we took the Mini too. So of course they lined the cars up by size. So all the big SUVs had to go into the back. So we were in like the second row. So we had a
Oh,
great spot to watch it as well in the Mini. So it was a
nice.
lot of
Hey,
fun. Good
and
seats.
the nice perk of having a little car.
Yep. You get to go into the front.
Yeah. I guess for me, because we're talking about Rob and just the fact that he's gone in such a shocking way. Um, so a few things about this film relating to Rob is, I guess he described it as, he said it was his first project to reflect his own sensibility. So mixing melancholy, humor, and nostalgia, and then like tying it back to personal feelings about family and storytelling. So I guess this has a lot of Rob in it, which is probably why it's great. Because, but I guess it was a pain in the ass to make, especially with all the production, like, and trying to get it made and all this. And I like this quote from Rob, um, on filmmaking being like hard, even when it's a comedy. He's quoted, "At times, making The Princess Bride, I felt I wasn't really going in the direction I wanted, but I had committed to the picture, and I always live up to my commitments. I was cursing when I was making it, but now I'm so proud and grateful that I made it." And I love that quote because you can learn something from Rob, because he and the crew and everybody made a beautiful thing. And even though it was really hard and maybe they were cursing it at the time, he talks about commitment. He was committed to it, and he lives up to his commitments.
There you go, kids. Live up to if you commit to something, follow through. It might suck at the time, but after the fact, you might be very proud of what you actually completed.
That's right. So that's a great lesson to learn from Rob, who made this beautiful movie that's beloved throughout the world by generations. And that's a story of commitment and living up to your commitments. And if you do that, however hard it might be, whether you're going to college, like my son studying something hard, or whether you're doing a project or whatever, if it's hard but you have a commitment to it, eventually at the end you'll create something beautiful that you can be proud of and be grateful that you did, just like Rob did. So thank you for your commitment, Rob, for making this fantastic movie. And you've left us too soon in a way that sucks. But we will always remember you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very nice. That's a perfect way to end it there. Let us know your memories or affiliations with The Princess Bride. You can reach us on our website, the80sand90s.com. Find us on a couple of the social media channels at the80sand90s.com. And yeah, it's great. So I guess it might be inconceivable, but it's time to wrap up this episode. And with that, we are out of here like two guys who are on the short list for the next Dread Pirate Roberts. Or like rodents of unusual size lost in the fire swamp. We're out here like two guys who have spent the last few years building up an immunity to locaine powder. Or finally, we're out here like two guys who have been mostly dead all day.
Yeah, that's what we're at here. Like, yes, all of those things.